with Waldorf Essentials, and we are talking today about chores, why they're important, and sort of what you should be able to expect from your kids at different age groups. I get a lot of questions about like when should I start doing chores with having them do chores? What should I be able to expect from them? Should they be doing the things on their own without being asked? And okay, so as far as like when should they start, I really think they should start really young. And that doesn't mean they're in charge of big things, but by the time they're 4 or 5, I would have them be unloading the dishwasher with you, drying dishes. If you don't have a dishwasher, put them on a chair in front of the sink and let them play in the water and help you wash dishes. They should be following you around when you're doing household chores, like wiping down. I've always done like a spray bottle with water in it, or even just water and vinegar for the little ones that they can wipe down as you're wiping down surfaces and things like that. So you want to sort of have this this ability to bring them along with you, and that's how you get things done during the day. A lot of moms say, well, how am I going to get my cleaning done? Well, that's how you get it done. You bring them along with you. I don't make it optional, but then at the same time, I'm not like pulling teeth either. It's not a oh, well, you're naughty because you're not helping me. It's nothing like that. It's come on, it's time for us to do chores. And if you start that when they're young, then they'll come along with you, especially if you're doing it too. So you want to be able to, because they're such creatures of imitation at this age, the littles, you really want to be doing it. You can't ask them to clean up if you're not willing to sort of like put your money where, or your mouth where your money is, or you got to really be in there with them. So you really want to make sure that you're not asking them to do things that you're sort of not willing to do. And so that really, again, starts at a really early age. And it starts with simple things like, it's time to clean up your toys now. All these blocks are out. Look at this big mess. Let's clean it up together kind of thing. You can't sit from the sofa and expect that they're going to clean up. It has to be a culture of you working together to do that. And so that, like I said, starts when they're really young, very young. Even the cleanup part, I would say 2, 3. You're cleaning up, and if they're seeing you do it even before then, they're going to be like, if you're putting a basket of things in the basket, like blocks in a basket, an 18-month-old is going to put them in the basket with you. So you want to sort of have that culture of tidying up, and if that's not something that is part of your already routine, and clutter and things like that is something that you struggle with, then that would be like an inner work goal that you really should work on tackling, and sort of why you feel that way. Because one thing that I found in years and years of doing this is that people that struggle with clutter have an abundance issue when it comes to like deep inside. So you have to think about, why is it that you want more, and instead of caring for what you have, sort of thing. So that's sort of a really deep thing that if you're struggling with that, and you're one of our clients, please drop me a note. I'm happy to help you walk through that. Because I think that really getting to the bottom of why you have clutter is a really important thing when they're young, so that as they're growing, you're not passing on those struggles to them. So again, that's the little ones should be helping you clean up, helping you unload the dishwasher. Soraya's 5, and she's got a few chores. She has her space in the living room, because she's got this big play area and her little desk. That's her domain. She's got to keep it clean. And when we do our chores every week, everybody's doing their things, and she knows that's her space. And it helps that she takes a lot of ownership over it. And one thing that helps with that is I'm very happy to say, well, if you don't clean that up, then it tells me that you must not really like this stuff. So maybe mom should go put it away, and then maybe we'll get it back out when you seem a little more ready to, oh no, I'll go clean it up. So she's very good about that. But then again, because we've done it her entire life, everybody has always worked on cleaning up, and that's part of sort of who the Nielsens are and what we do. And as a mom that has a lot of kids, I have to have things run smoothly. And if there's a ton of clutter and everything's a mess, it can't run smoothly. And so one of the things that I feel pretty confident about is my house is always 30 minutes from clean. And that, there are some days where 30 minutes would get us like majorly deep clean, and other days when 30 minutes would get us like looking pretty dang good. And rarely are we like, oh no, 30 minutes is the skin of our teeth. Never. I can remember maybe a few times, and it was usually after I've had a baby and things are kind of a disarray. But you sort of want to get your space so that you're always feeling like that. And getting ownership from the little ones all the way up, I think is super important. So we have done various things over the years. I've been a mom for a long time, and sometimes we've paid allowance and sometimes we haven't. And right now we don't. But I found that we have generally more buy-in when we don't pay allowance than we do when we do. And by that I'm saying allowance is tied to chores. And so I don't think I would do any hard and fast rules about this. I would do what works for your family. If you've got kids that are really motivated by money, then paying allowance and tying that to chores might be the way to go. But in our house, we're kind of not doing that. But there have been times when I have done that for sure. So people often ask me, how do you get them to do chores without asking? You don't. Especially not when they're young. Even the teenagers, and it's not a nagging or harping. You have to sort of get out of that mindset of you nagging at them, because while I'll say, hey, it's time to do chores, that's not nagging. Now what's nagging would be like, come on. I step away from that. My kids know that chores come before fun stuff, and so we have things that we do first thing in the morning before even breakfast. And so everybody has to sort of do their chores in order for everything to run smoothly. And they've all sort of seen what happens when, like, say, one child doesn't get the dishwasher loaded and on at night, then the next child in the morning can't unload. And so then it sort of snowballs, and then they're all standing there going, wait a minute, why is everything behind? Well, that's why. It's okay for those things to happen so that they can see the consequence of sort of their actions. And I often find it very interesting that, and we've done this when we've got kids that are struggling with, like Harry, like when he was, because he's my oldest, and he's grown and gone, but when he was about 10, he was like garbage everywhere. And I remember thinking, what in the heck am I going to do to get this kid in charge of his own garbage? Because it was his own garbage. Wrappers everywhere, garbage, just where it didn't belong. And so he was in charge of the garbage, like seriously, for probably 2 years. That's all he did was garbage. He had to make sure it was out twice a day. He had to walk the house and make sure all the trash cans were empty. Of like throwing garbage on the floor. Eleanor, and like I said, she's practically perfect in every way. But dang, those glasses, like she'll just get another glass out of the cabinet, and we all have water bottles. And so I just thought, well, she's gonna have to be on dishes. So she's on dishes 3 days a week, and the instance of her getting glasses out of the cabinet has gone way down. She'll go, where's my water bottle? And she'll fill it up and put. So it helps when they're sort of going through these poignant stages in life for them to see how their chores or neglecting things like affects the entire family, especially when you have a bigger family. And even I think when you have a littler family, I think there are lots of days now that it's just Sam and Soraya, as Eleanor's off. She's super busy and she's gone. She's gone a good portion of every day. And so it's just the little ones. But if I didn't say, hey, it's time to do chores, they'd just be off in La La Land. And so, we're doing those same things with them, even though there's only 2 of them now. So I sort of have both spectrums. I understand what it's like to just have 2, because we were at that space, and then what it was like to have a lot. So when you have just a couple of kids, it's really easy to just sort of relax and not think about chores, and then they get way behind. And so my suggestion to you would be to be firm all the time. Know what your boundary is. Know what it is that you want from that. Chores bring a more peace to your house. So if you've got harmony in everybody working at the same time, we tend to spend one day, well, let me back up. So we do chores every day. And there's simple things like bathrooms have to be kept clean, and the living room space has to be tidied, and the dishes have to be done. It's not just the dishes. Whoever's on the kitchen has the counters, the kitchen table, and the dishes. So it's all one big thing. And the stove. That's a pet peeve of mine. Do not clean the kitchen and leave the stove all a big mess for me. Do not do it unless you want me to yell at you. So, we make sure that we have all of those things that are daily chores somebody is assigned to. Now, when I had 5 kids at home, I didn't have to do very many chores at all. And so now that I only have 2.5, really, because she's gone a lot at home, Eric and I are doing a lot more chores, and that's okay. It's sort of where we're at in life. So we sort of parted out so that everybody's got something to do, and that happens first thing in the morning. And that's done before breakfast. And so, like, I won't even start breakfast until the dishwasher's unloaded and the kitchen is cleaned up. So the kitchen should be cleaned up from the night before. I will start breakfast after the dishwasher's unloaded because I like to take those breakfast dishes and put them right back into the dishwasher. That makes it easier for the person who's got morning dishes and keeps my kitchen a little bit cleaner. I'm a little bit anal about the clean kitchen thing. So when we have chores set up like that, then they know we have an expectation of these things have to happen. So Samuel and Soraya unload the dishwasher. Sam takes out the trash and the recycling in the mornings. So all of those things sort of have to happen like clockwork. So I will say, are your chores done? And that's the first thing in the morning. I love you, hugs, snuggles, and it's time to start chores. And so they go and they start chores. Now, what about kids that kind of dawdle about that? So I've had a couple of those throughout my life too. But that's why I say I make sure that the ones that have to happen in the morning happen before breakfast. So if you'd like to eat, and I really would like you to eat, because then you're getting hangry if you don't. And so if you'd like to eat, I'd really like you to hurry up with your chores and let's sit down to eat. Now, I don't make them make beds before chores. I often don't make them get dressed before chores. That has to happen at some point before our morning gets going. But I don't necessarily always make sure that happens before breakfast. Like the two little ones have gone on walks in their pajamas before. I'm at a place in my parenting where it doesn't really matter to me. Just want everything to run smoothly. And if that means that you're going on a walk in your R2-D2 pajamas and you're 10 years old, it's fine with me. Just put your shoes on. It's definitely not a place of control that I needed to have when they were younger. At least I feel like I have grown a lot with regards to that. But the need for a clean house hasn't. So that's not changed at all. So we just make sure that everybody's working on chores. And that means that, yes, I have to remind them. But so the older they get, when Harry was still living at home, he loved dishes and he loved laundry. That was like his deal. And I think because both places offered sort of this disconnection zen place for him, and as you've got teenagers getting older, I think it's important to introduce them to things like that, because if they hate doing all of the things in the house, then it's going to transfer into their adult life. And so one thing for Harry is he found a really good way. I let him listen to his headphones and he would do laundry, and he had a time frame, because if I didn't put a time limit on it, then you'd be doing laundry for 2 hours. And so, I'd say you've got 20 minutes to get that done, or 20 minutes to get the dishes done. When we lived in our last house, we didn't have a dishwasher, so he did dishes by hand. But that gave him this space to sort of, like I said, disconnect. And so I think that's important for teens to be able to have a space to do that. And chores can become a way for that. Now, you're thinking, Melissa, you're crazy, because my kids are never going to enjoy chores. Well, we've worked with them since they were very young to really think about the space they live in, and think about the things that they have, and think about how those chores and interacting with those chores help each other. And so we are thankful for the space we live in. We're not just thankful for it and grateful for it. We really appreciate the space we live in. And in order to do that, we have to really take care of it. And because they see me taking care of the space, they're more apt to take care of the space. And really that transfers into so many other things. It transfers into how they're feeling about their schoolwork. It transfers into how they're working with their relationships. And you see so much that comes about from having some stewardship over some chores at home. So that might sound a little kooky and crazy, but I think if you try it, you'll find that it's really not. So age-appropriate chores. I think, like I said, the little ones, 4 or 5, can unload dishwasher. They can help fold towels, even though they do it really messy and you're going to have to redo it again. It's the idea that you've got them working on something. 5, 6, still towels, unload dishwasher, can help can help reload the dishwasher, even though you'll probably have to fix it. They can help sweep. Soraya sweeps. She's got a child-sized broom and she sweeps. They can help hang laundry. They can do a lot of things like that. I would say 7, 8, they can start running the vacuum cleaner. They need to be learning how to sweep properly by that age. They probably won't totally master sweeping properly until they're 12. And if they're having a lazy day, then you're going to have to make them do it again. But I think that definitely a 12-year-old can manage that. And I think dishes, hand wash dishes for sure, 10, 12, they can do a very good job of it. And again, vacuuming for all of those ages. Let's see, feeding animals is a great one for the little kids to do. So I try to look at the chores and everything that needs to be done and who they best fit with. I also try to make sure that everybody knows how to do everything. So by the time they're 12 years old, they should be able to run the whole house. I've sort of worked on that with all of my kids. They know how to vacuum by then, sweep by then really well, do the dishes, do the laundry, all of those things. So I would say laundry would be by about, I wouldn't say by 10. Sam's 10 and he's doing laundry. The bigger kids were doing it probably by 9, 8, 9. So we sort it. So that's already sorted. So you don't have like mix-ups that way. And so then you just let them know and show them how much is appropriate for your washer to be putting in there, how to measure out the soap, all of those things. And you can make pictures, write it down, whatever they need. But, don't shy away from chores. It's so important. So important. I have to tell you, I would say that about at least 20% of the moms that I work with are really struggling with this aspect because they either didn't have somebody teach them or it wasn't required of them as a child. And so, when you live in my house, that's part of what you do. In fact, my mom comes and she's like, "Where's the broom?" I'm like, "Mom, you're a guest. You don't have to sweep." But they do that because that's this, they see that we're all working together. So then when people come here, they're like compelled to like tidy up and help keep it that way because we sort of leave or have this era of this is what we expect in our home is trying to be tidy. That doesn't mean I'm the cleanest person on the planet because I'm definitely not. And I'm definitely not OCD clean. And there are definitely times that I'm like, that's dirty, but I'm going to have to turn my head to it right now for sure. Absolutely. I have times like that. But for the most part, it stays tidy, and it stays tidy because I have a team that helps me keep it tidy. They help mess it up. They're going to help clean it up. And so that's the way I sort of look at it from a very early age. And I think that you can expect that of them as long as they're living under your roof. So, even the days before Harry left, he was working on dishes and laundry. And he said to me the last day, now I'm going to cry, before I left because we knew we wouldn't be in that house when he came back. He said, "Mom, this might be the last time I do dishes for you." And I said, "Yeah, it might be." And gave him a big hug. I said, "But I'm sure you'll want to come and do dishes for me even when you don't live at home." And so it's something that is very bittersweet, but they do it when they live here, and it gives them ownership of the space, and it helps everybody feel like everybody's contributing. So I hope this is helpful. I know it's not total nuts and bolts breakdown, but if you have questions about what's appropriate for your kids, please feel free to ask me. I think that having stewardship over chores and sort of having this love of helping each other, it's not something that comes natural to a lot of adults. It's definitely not going to come natural to kids unless they see you, unless they imitate it from you. So unless they're seeing that in your home, they're not going to get it. So you have to show them, and you have to sort of have that going on in your own home. So if you have any questions, please drop me a note. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week.